Hello, and welcome back to another episode of basically this little podcast series that I'm doing. I've really enjoyed it. It's really felt like an opportunity to kind of just release what I'm actually thinking and what I'm feeling, which I think inevitably just brings you, the people that are watching, a little closer to me, a little closer to my life, to the things that are happening in my life. And also, I think it's creating that connection that I'm really seeking with this platform and this community. I had a few people reach out to me last week after posting last week's podcast video, YouTube, whatever you want to call it. But it was really special. And it was kind of just proof of what is happening and what we're trying to do and create with this. And for me, it was this little moment where it was a realization that I'm really building something that I believe in, something that I have always wanted to create. And it's starting small, which I think makes it more intimate, which is really the whole point of it. It's to create a community, an intimate community that will grow throughout time. And I hope that it can always stay that way. I hope that no matter what size this community ends up growing to, I hope that it can always be intimate. And I hope that every person that listens feels like they truly can reach out to me and have a conversation and connect on some form or another. But this week, I want to talk about something that has been really pressing in my life. And I actually tried sitting down and making a couple different videos about this. And one day I even made just like a quick little Instagram or a quick little video on my phone that I was going to post to Instagram. And I didn't end up doing that. I think part of it was due to fear. Another part of it was due to almost lack of clarity surrounding what I was talking about. And it was kind of funny because last week when I made my video, I talked about how I want to just share. And if that makes sense when I share it, then that obviously holds value. And I wanted to do that. I want to keep doing that. I want to just share where I'm at in certain moments. So then even when I look back on these moments, I can just see the growth that was made. I can see the change in perspective that grew throughout time. And I think that's why I want to do a lot more of these, because I get to hear my honest thoughts and also an honest outlook on my life and this moment that I'm in my life. So I'm going to keep doing this and I'm going to keep sharing it. And the thing that I was going to create, or that I did create, and the little video message that I made that I did not share, honestly due to fear, was about feeling broken. This has been a feeling that I have experienced for quite some time. It is an experience that I find keeps returning throughout honestly the days, the months, and the years of my life. No matter what state of life I'm in, I constantly feel this feeling like I'm broken. And I've never quite understood why that was or where that stemmed from. And there usually was a direct correlation with breakups where I would feel this sense of breaking. I would feel this lack of self. I would feel disconnected from myself. I would almost look down upon myself in certain situations, and I would constantly ask myself, when is this going to end? When is this pain, this struggle, this heartbreak going to be over? And usually in my life, I've been able to work through struggles that I've had to a certain degree where I could then move forward and also move on. It was this feeling of moving on. It was this feeling of growing. It was this feeling of healing and being healed. And there was a lot of times in my life that I felt that I felt like I had moved forward, that I felt like I was healed, that I felt like I was no longer broken, and indeed that I was fixed. But you see, over this past year, things have been a little different. And I've experienced a lot of different moments within my life that have posed a lot of different struggles. I felt this feeling almost that I'm never going to heal. And I think this is where this statement of feeling broken comes from, is it's this feeling like no matter what we do, no matter how we go about our life, we are never going to heal and we are always going to be broken. And it's something that I haven't been able to fully understand. It's something that has honestly disrupted my life in so many different forms. And it's something that I've grown to become extremely fearful of as well. You see, I really want to embrace life in such a beautiful way and go about my life in a way where I look at myself and I genuinely love myself. I look at myself and I'm excited to be with myself. I'm excited to do life. And over this past year, I've really come to love and appreciate my time that I've spent on my lonesome. I've enjoyed it. I've loved it. There's a lot of times that I would quote unquote say that I've thrived in it. But there's also been a lot of other moments when I felt extremely sad. I felt extremely lonely, and I felt like this was never going to end. I thought that this sense of loneliness was going to be something that never really disappeared until I welcomed somebody else into my life. And I still genuinely don't know. And that's something that I need to admit right off the bat, is that I'm not going to tell you that I have figured this out because I have not. And I am so far away from figuring it out. And quite frankly, I don't know if I ever will. But there's a few words that I want to say on the feeling of heartbreak and just feeling broken in general. See, when I have felt this sense of loneliness, and when I have felt this almost lack of self and this fear that I'm never going to heal, I oftentimes sit there and, like I said before, I ask, is this ever going to end? Like, am I ever not going to have to go through this or not go through the constant? I'm a person that loves to assess my life. I'm a person that loves to look back and see if I'm caught in a loop and see where I can change and where I can fix that. And I take the proper steps of action to do these things. I see a therapist. I work on myself constantly. I implement what I learn into my life so that hopefully I can progress forward. And in my life, this has helped immensely. I have seen just an immense amount of growth within myself over the past year. I've seen myself go through some very, very difficult moments and almost come out on top. But again, the struggle that I have is that despite how many times I come out on top, I constantly find myself falling back into this state of thinking that I'm broken and that I'm never going to genuinely be happy in my life unless that's filled with somebody else. And that is a scary, scary feeling. It's a scary feeling because no matter what I know, no matter how I feel about certain people, about certain subjects, about myself, there's this constant feeling of heartbreak that's involved. It's this constant feeling that I'm broken. It's this constant feeling that I truly am never going to be happy. It's this feeling like it's this fear that it's going to be like this forever. And that's a very honest fear. I was thinking about what it means to be broken And I've always associated that with heartbreak. I've always associated it with a specific traumatic experience that has happened. I've always looked at it as there is one thing that breaks you, and then you have to go through the process of fixing and healing. But what I've actually realized is that it's not just a one-time linear process of breaking, fixing, healing. It's a constant process of breaking, fixing, healing, breaking, fixing, healing, breaking, fixing, healing. And inevitably, that time between breaking and healing, it gets shorter. It's just one of these things where you know that through the fixing and the healing and then the re-breaking, you know that you're learning in that process. You know that inevitably it is going to get shorter. You might find yourself at this spot of claiming that you're healed. But where my fear comes in is that this cycle's never going to end. It's going to be this constant of feeling broken, a feeling like I'm just going through this constant of breaking, fixing, healing, but never actually getting to the point of healed. And that terrifies me because I don't want that. I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to sit there on a random day and just feel so down despite how great my life truly is, despite how many beautiful things there are in my life. And it drives me to this state of the state of making irrational decisions. I've escaped my life because I felt broken in my life. And that is a sad feeling. That's a sad feeling knowing that I feel this dire need to escape this life that I've created and that I'm living because I'm so afraid of breaking again. It's almost like this quick fix, this quick hit of something exciting, something that fills my heart in some form of a way because I know that inevitably it's going to be broken again. I know that I'm going to be broken again. I know that I'm going to feel broken again. I also know, though, that this feeling of being broken is simply just a feeling. Because when I zoom out and I look at my life and I look at all the little steps that I've made over this past year, I can't help but be proud of the things that I've done, the things I've accomplished, and the places that I've gone. And I can't help but hold my head high. I can't help but be extremely happy with where I'm at. And I also can't help but accept that there is certain things that happen in my life that can't just be fixed in a month or a couple months or even a year. There's certain feelings of trauma, of being broken, that take a little bit longer to heal. You see the vastness of the traumatic experience that happened or that feeling of being broken, how large that is or how close that is to your heart, how close that is to your overall soul being, basically just means how much longer it will take to heal from that. And it's frustrating. It frustrates me every single day because even when things are going great, there's always this little bit of me that holds this piece of sadness within myself. There's this piece of me that questions, will I ever truly be healed? There's this piece of me that questions, is life going to be like this forever? Or is this as good as it gets? And that is a fearful thing. And it's also something that, as I'm even saying this, that I understand that I'm in control of. I understand that it's not going to be like this forever. I understand that with constant practice and constant forms of healing as well, and constant work on myself and on the situation, and learning how to forgive situations, learning how to be graceful with myself, learning how to be open and acceptant of different forms of love, and especially forms of love that come from myself. I'm just kind of learning that is so vital and so important. And it's something that I can't help but be proud of and happy about. And as many times as I sit there and question myself, and I sit there and question my life, and I ask myself, is this going to be my life forever? Am I going to feel broken forever? Or when is all of this pain going to end? That's when I want to just sit there and through action or through verbal expression or even just internal dialogue, I want to just grace myself with the reassurance that this won't last forever, that this won't be life forever, that being aware and acknowledging how you're feeling in these moments is as much as you can kind of do sometimes. And understanding that life will be beautiful, and it already is beautiful. And all that you can do is just trust yourself, trust the process, and trust the path that you're on. And again, just trust that this isn't going to be your life forever. Trust that the pain that you feel now is a lot less than what you once felt. And understand that didn't happen by fluke. That happened through time. That happened through awareness. That happened through personal development and self-help, and the help and guidance of others as well. And how you live your life now and how you feel now is a lot different than how you felt back then. And so I think if I'm going to say anything to yourself and myself, I think it's just understanding that this is not going to be a forever feeling. And because you feel these feelings, and they might happen more often than you would like, it doesn't mean that you're broken. We're not broken. We're not going to be broken forever. In fact, we're not broken, we're just healing. And I think that, even as I said that, that's just kind of that just means a lot to myself, saying that. Because we're not broken. We truly are just healing. I think being broken is when you fully give up and you stop trying. And if you never stop trying, then you're simply just in the process of healing. And that's something beautiful. That's something powerful. And it's something that I'm really, really, really trying to work on. And I think there's no need to rush this process of healing. There's no need to feel like it's a bad thing that it's taking longer than you would expect. Because again, in reality, no healing process is linear, and no healing process has a true deadline or timeline on it. Every process is going to be a little bit longer or a little bit different, and it might take a little longer than you really hope and expect. And again, that's okay. As long as you be kind to yourself, you be graceful with yourself, you acknowledge the thoughts and feelings that you have, and don't beat yourself up over them. Because you're not broken. But I think if you hold a negative energy surrounding all of it, then you just might end up being broken. Because if there's one person that can kind of get you through this whole process, it's yourself. And it's myself. And that's a pretty beautiful thing when you know that no matter what, you have yourself. So I think if there's anything at the end of the day that you take and you walk away from this video with, it's just be your friend in this process, throughout this healing journey, throughout this life circumstance, because life is difficult. As easy as it is, and I've said this for so long in my life, I'm kind of saying the opposite now, but as easy as it is to choose a different life, you can't choose how you feel in your life. You can try your hardest. You can try and change your outlook on certain situations and change your perspective and the ways that you view life and your situations. And hopefully those things do help. I truly do hope. But it's also very important to understand that if those things fail, then it's truly just being there, holding your own hand and trusting this process and trusting this journey that you're on and doing the little things to show love and trust in yourself, and love and trust yourself enough to know that you are going to come out of this, that this is not going to be something that lasts forever. And also don't latch on to other people to help fix and heal your problems, because you'll be brought back to the same situation. You're always going to loop unless you do something to change that. And oftentimes it's very uncomfortable. It's very difficult. But it's the greatest thing you can ever do to yourself. And it's also showing yourself that you're in it with yourself. So that's kind of my whole spiel on the fact that we are not broken. And I really do appreciate you for being here for another week of this little podcast situation. And we will see you next week. Peace.